What is going on, Alpha Hunters? It is a very magnificent Monday, and hopefully you had a magnificent weekend. This past weekend, I actually did have a great weekend, so hopefully you did. My grandmother turned 93, so we had some family in town celebrating old peopleness, old people celebration. So cool, and let's see what's going on with the markets. We had a nice gap up today, very very nice gap up actually on SPY. Q's actually had a pretty rock solid one. Actually, I think like all of them gapped up pretty good. We did gap up about 0.75% here on the SPY. You can see a little bit of a pop, quick drop, all within the first like 45 minutes or so, and then we went on a nice little run back up to the day's highs. Now, I got the hiccups. So I would have thought maybe here over the past 10 minutes or so that maybe this potentially be a double bottom when we roll back down. Obviously, that would have very much been dependent on breaking this 10 EMA, but you can see here over the past 10 minutes, doesn't really look like that. It could happen. We could just be throwing these little upper wicks that you currently see coming in on the market. Maybe we roll over. And that is a double top. The interesting thing about kind of where the double top is and where we kind of gap to today is that's kind of where the highs were on Friday. So, yeah, we kind of gapped up and kind of took out the entire day's performance on Friday today. So, SPY currently up 0.9%. Looking pretty good. Q's is where the strength is coming from, the big techo area. Big tech supermarket. Okay. Q's up currently 1.25%. And we did gap up roughly about 1.25% as well. That is about where we are. So yeah, looking pretty good there. On the day, it doesn't look too much indifferent from how the SPY kind of looks. A little bit weaker over the past 10 minutes. So we'll see if that amounts to anything. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. IWM also had a gap up, and this is where the next three are probably going to look about the same, I think. I know the IWM and RSP will look about the same, but about a 0.4% gap up there on the IWM. Quick little pump, and then it just rolled over. We got negative, actually, a decent amount, like 0.5% or so, a little bit more than 0.5%, about 0.6% negative there on the day. We actually broke Friday's low. Be curious to see what that looks like on the daily when we get there. And then it's just kind of been popping bullish ever since, back to above the open. So not looking too bad currently, up almost 0.5%. DIA, yeah, same kind of feel to it. Nice little gap up there, about a 0.3% gap up. Dropped off, got negative, didn't take out Friday's lows, and then popped and made it a run back up to the daily highs. Snagged actually the initial open there. Okay, RSP, nice gap up here. We did gap up about 0.4% as well. You can see that little drop off. Definitely broke that Friday low and making daily highs right now. So RSP not looking too bad. Okay, let's see how the dailies look. And this not to say that it looks horrible, right? Not to say it looks horrible. Kind of expected the RSP to go a little bit lower. I was really wanted to definitely fill this gap, maybe down to the 20 EMA. This little gap that we had back from July 11th to July 12th. But I really wanted to see it down here around 166 or so. 166 and a half, 166. So that's kind of what I would like to have seen. I'm not shocked we're getting some bullishness, right? This is a previous kind of nice little pivot level that we had back in kind of like mid-ish May. And yeah, I'm not surprised we're getting some buying power there. And also we've seen a lot of things pull back. So a lot of things are going to get in support buying opportunities right now. DIA as well. Obviously, the 10 EMA is coming up. It hasn't quite made it back down to these, these little humps that we had a few months back. So, yeah, well, I understand buying the dip here, especially on the RSP, DIA, and IWM. I mean, they ripped so hard over the previous 2 weeks that it's like these pullbacks were going to definitely get bought. I just like to see them a little bit lower. Yeah, same thing here with the IWM. Obviously, getting kind of close to that 10 EMA, looking somewhat bullish there. Q's has such a strong gap here, but it's just in between the moving averages. Kind of, it might just get sandwiched in here for a few days, and not gonna be surprised, right? When we kind of made it down to this low back from June 24th on Friday, didn't quite break it. We didn't break it. Didn't quite break it. No, we just didn't break it. But I mean, we got down to that level, and we're bouncing off of it, right? So if we just trade a little bit higher, come into the moving averages, and then maybe roll over to look like a big old head and shoulders, we'll see if that comes of anything. I mean, other than that, right now, with where we're kind of gapped to today, I'm not really digging the bullish trade. I mean, the idea of being maybe looking for bullishness off the pullback that we've had here over the past like week or so was really because we pulled back so far so fast as well into supports, right? A lot of these have kind of started to pull into like moving averages or different kind of pivot levels. So it just kind of made sense to see somewhat of a bounce kind of come across the markets, and even here on the SPY, which hasn't pulled back nearly as much as the Qs, but I mean, it's a strong day. It's up about 1% now, but getting close to coming into that 10 EMA. It did break that 20 EMA down Friday, but gapped back over it today. It's going to be a pretty important week because, yeah, I mean, if we run back bullish and get back up to the highs that we were putting in last week here on the SPY, yeah, that would be an interesting look as, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, we could definitely do that. I think more importantly is what are the Qs doing at that point in time as well. So, obviously, right now, I think I would just kind of be patient, especially if you were looking to potentially, with how Friday kind of closed, the weakness, looking for like a counter trend rally or like a buy the dip kind of rally. With kind of where we gap to on Monday, if you weren't playing the futures, I would just be waiting right now for the most part. See what sets up next. VIX coming down. Okay. VIX did get a little extended. All right, maybe come down to some of these like pivot levels that we had around 14 or 15-ish. Also, we're going to have the moving averages somewhere in there as well. So we'll see. Dollar. DXY. So we kind of talked about at the end of last week with this breakdown and the bounce back up over this 104 level. I want to see what happens if we consolidate sideways here and then we pop higher. I would imagine this thing is going to be rocking bullish, and I think it's a somewhat decent start. I think it's a really solid start the way that candle comes in today. Obviously, you want to see how this thing closes today. That's going to be the most important thing. You don't want to see it just roll back over. We got plenty of hours left in the trading day to see if this thing does anything. But you can see it traded down initially in the futures or overnight trading. It somewhat bounced, tried to roll back over, and it didn't make a new low. It kind of made a higher low, and it's run back up. So I would say you're probably eyeballing this to maybe see what's going on by close. Maybe starting to dip your toes in if it's going to look like that. I mean, that looks pretty good. I kind of like the way that looks, but we'll see. GLD, the Gold Trust. Not really doing anything, just kind of hanging out a little bit, kind of like the dollar. just kind of sitting right on top of that 20 EMA. It's kind of where we kind of pivoted, pulled back before. We also have this support from back on June 6th, just under it. So might be in a little bit of a base spot here, and then we'll have to see what happens here for the next couple of days. But I'd imagine that starts to get into a base spot right there. 10-year yield, gap down. Gap down yields doesn't happen too often, but it happens. Just kind of hanging out. Not doing a whole lot. Not doing a whole lot after that gap down. It's kind of just traded sideways even throughout the night. Okay. 10-2 inversion, still coming back down. Okay. 10-2 inversion, no longer going higher for now. HYG continuing to push higher. Yields are down a little bit. Bonds are up. Okay. LQD bouncing. TLT trying to bounce. So are we just setting up a little bit longer term? Not longer term, but a longer running, maybe chop pattern than what I was initially expecting. That's possible. It's the cool thing about setting up some of these chop patterns, even if they take a little bit of time, is they start to really define like a range, right? They start to set up the real compression. And once you break that said compression or range, typically the longer it is, the stronger the move will be after that. And it's just like you just hop on and you just go with it. So, yeah, we'll see. Starting to really kind of consolidate in here on some of these bond prices. Take a look at heat map. Communications areas looks like it's going to hit T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T there. For Tesla's up 3.5%. Semiconductor stuff is bouncing back. You can see a lot of green over there in the semiconductor world. That's kind of what was getting hit pretty good last week. All right. As far as sector performance, you can see tech makes perfect sense. Leading the way, up 1.5%. Nice little drop here about 4 minutes ago. Okay. A little bit of drop there. All right. Utilities underperforming. Discretionaries, real estate underperforming. Financials, industrials, healthcare underperforming as well. Communications, materials, and then staples and energies at the lower end of the day. Not that many sectors are actually negative, but those two are. I'm kind of interested to go check out energies. As far as intraday performance, what we see here is real estate's actually doing okay there, outperforming on the day. Tech, utilities, financials, energies, discretionaries, all outperforming. In line with the market, healthcare, underperformers, industrials, materials, staples, communications. Okay. I'm going to take a look at, oh my gosh, look at that little, like, triple tap. It's like a double tap and then like a little mini double tap. That breakdown that we had. All right, I'm going to take a look at energies. What is going on here? Whoa. Definitely did not see this on Friday. Wow, yeah. So yeah, we had a pretty good breakdown on Friday. So I think I last looked at energies. I think it was last Wednesday when we were last green day we kind of had, because I remember we were trading up. And okay, yeah, that's a breakdown there on crude oil. Not exactly the best time to go bearish, but ooh, that is a breakdown. Okay, is gasoline? So gasoline's continuing to do that. Yeah, gasoline's trading kind of weak here. Yeah, trade kind of weak there in June because gasoline did not get bought up like that. Not not nearly not nearly as much of the bullish pop there like crude had in June. Okay. Heating oil. Heating oil actually did have a pretty good bounce there in June. Looks a little bit more like crude here over the past couple months. But yeah, it also had that breakdown on Friday. Okay. So that would be why the energy stocks are not doing well. We had some breakdowns late last week. A little bit of continuation today. What's going on? Major news. Oh, yeah. If you didn't hear, Joe Biden is stepping aside and not running for re-election for the Democratic Party in the U.S. Kamala Harris is expected to take over. I don't know if that's been like, I think it has been officially said, but like the Democratic Party hasn't officially confirmed it, I don't think. Or maybe Joe Biden kind of, said, yes, I support Kamala. I don't know. But yeah, that did happen yesterday, I believe. NVIDIA cooking up China legal version of its new AI chip. China legal version. Okay. Brazil's central bank delays launch of new feature in popular payment system. Interesting. Coca-Cola expected to see momentum continue in Q2. Why Delta is still canceling flights as other airlines return to normal. Yeah, that's not good. How Biden's exit could unwind the Trump trade. NASDAQ leads opening gains after Biden exits race. I don't want to talk politics, but I'm going to talk about this real quick. So the interesting thing about this whole Biden backing out is he's said for weeks he's not backing out, and then all of a sudden like he's backing out. And a lot of that kind of like the last domino was the attempted assassination attempt on Trump that happened last Saturday, and I guess the I guess the failed attempted assassination attempt. But the what's interesting in some of these headlines is like people are giving Kamala like a fair shot to beat Donald Trump, and it's like the reason why a lot of people were saying Biden wasn't backing out or Biden wasn't backing out over the previous several weeks was that preliminary polling was saying Harris wasn't polling better than Biden against Trump. So it's just kind of interesting to see some of the rhetoric about like, possibly Trump trade like unwinding and stuff like that. So it's just kind of, man, there's a lot of politics headlines out here. Jeez. Okay. Verizon revenue miss estimates on lower equipment upgrades. So yeah, that was so we can go take a look at T-Mobile US. I don't know, man. It was some politics stuff. There is some earnings stuff out there, right? T-Mobile obviously down 1.25% because Verizon had earnings this morning. So Verizon missed revenue by 0.75%, not even a whole percent. So that's not bad. And then basically in line with earnings. So, but Verizon revenue misses estimates on lower equipment upgrades. Okay. So lower equipment upgrades. And the one thing I'll say right here about Verizon specifically I mean, we have a pretty rock solid support line right there. You got to be. I mean, that's. I mean, if you want a good trade, it's a pretty solid one. So I mean, you can. I mean, you got plenty of spots, below to say I'll put in a stop loss. Also, maybe not a bad spot if you want to do. If you're like, I don't want to own shares, but I don't mind getting put the shares. You can sell some put options. Probably still some decent volatility to collect premiums in on Verizon right here. And the fact that it's so close to 39 is probably some really good premiums. So, yeah, selling put options there on VZ is not a bad idea. AT&T, nice gap down about 2.33%. Obviously, a little flush out, got close to that 50 MA. Checked in with this previous high. Doesn't look too bad. They're going to have earnings that tomorrow, Wednesday morning. There you go. So that's AT&T. Okay. Oh, I meant to hit MCD. McDonald's set to extend value menu to $5. Set to extend $5 value meal. So that's $5 meal at most U.S. outlets into August. Is this like Burger King McDonald's $5 value meal offer will be extended to August at most U.S. locations. About 93% of its restaurants voted in favor of the plan. Okay, so this is basically like I guess they've been running like a promotional $5 meal because people have been complaining that McDonald's has gotten expensive. And it seems like the $5 meal helped bring back traffic into McDonald's restaurants. There you go. Yeah, people need to stop paying. Like, if things aren't of good value, stop paying for it. Stop going to McDonald's. Stop eating out. Eat healthier. Eat at home. I'm sorry. Rival Burger King, owned by Restaurant Brands International, was running a $5 Your Way deal last month, while Wendy's announced a $3 breakfast meal deal in May. So, yeah, I mean, just stop paying up for what should be discounts, and companies will get it and they'll lower prices, right? Yeah, McDonald's $5 meal gonna extend into August. Makes sense. What I would rather see though, and yeah, what I would rather see is probably just a straight price cut on the menu. Because once you get into August or September and that deal drops off, like, is foot traffic going to go away? Remember, you're McDonald's. You're not out here to make a gazillion dollars, right? You're just, you know what you are. That's it. You're not here to have the greatest of margins ever. SPY, I'm noticing that we are selling down a little bit here. Yeah, so so we did have a double top, right? We did have this little double top, and then we had a little double top here. So it's got like a triple top over kind of medium term intraday, and then a little double top here on the shorter intraday time frame. It's kind of interesting. So there you go. Yeah, we barely snagged the highs from earlier. So what was this high? That's 42, 43. This is 46. So the high on this candle was 55, 554, 46. So just by a few pennies taking out those previous highs. All right. Got some red out here in consumer services. Starbucks down 3.5%. Starbucks had a pop midday on Friday. Interesting. What was that about? Let me see if I can. Activist investor Elliott has built a big stake in Starbucks. Oh, that's probably what came out. Activist investor alert. Yeah, activist investor causes stock to jump. Oh, look at that move on the Qs. Ayo. Oh, and the Qs actually pretty clear sign, right? You're having these lower highs coming in on the Qs. Kind of giving you an early indication that, yeah, we're seeing some weakness in the areas that weigh the most. So, all right. How's the IYT doing? IYT is actually negative today. Trying to bounce off of some previous highs. If it doesn't bounce though, because it's clearly trying, so people have clearly put in orders to try to buy at like these pullback levels and off the moving averages. So if it doesn't hold, I mean, all it is sucking up liquidity that's going to be there. And if it breaks through there, well, where's the next spot of liquidity? Probably at least back down to 64. But I think it'd probably just want it breaking down. Okay. Yields. What is going on here past 20 minutes, sir? What is going on? What's today? The 22nd. 22nd. I don't really see anything. But speaking of, while we're here, what is going on this week? Building permits, wholesale, S&P, PMI. We get PMI data tomorrow. New home sales also tomorrow. EIA. Oh no, I'm sorry. Wednesday. PMI Wednesday. New home sales Wednesday. EIA energy stuff on Wednesday. Thursday. Ooh, GDP. Ooh, that'd be Q2 GDP. Ooh, that'd be interesting. That should be Q2. That should be Q2 GDP. Wow. That'll be a good look. Obviously, jobless claims. Okay, Thursday, we're going to GDP, see how Q2 went. And then Friday, PCE. We get PCE on Friday, personal income and spending as well. Okay. So we get some stuff. That's on top of earnings that we already know that are coming a lot this week. Yeah, we are starting to get right into the thick of earnings. Here the next 3 weeks should be like most of the big dog companies. Not even just tech, but just most of the SP 500 should be over here over the next like 3 weeks. Other than that, oh yeah, I'll be really curious to see how the market ends. With the Q's breaking down as we're here over the past like 20, 30 minutes, and leading the SP 500 lower. And we saw yields jumping here over the past 30 minutes. Actually got positive from that gap down. How's dollar? Dollar's starting to look good. Bonds are dipping off. Man, I'll be interested to see what we do today, tomorrow. Obviously, today's gap ups always. Gap ups can always throw you off because it's like, okay, I mean, it could definitely lead into that direction very strongly, and so you don't know, and you kind of have to wait at least like an hour into the trading day, an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to kind of see what the market is wanting to do. And you see, we tried to pop, we rolled over, we tried to pop, And if we were going to continue, like we were, it should have happened like right there. And yeah, we rolled over. So that does not look the best, but it doesn't mean we're going to just drop off and sell down 1%. Not saying that, but obviously we're trying to, dip by, bounce on the pullback that we had last week, past week and a half on tech. Okay. Is the RS? I guess the other question is RSP. RSP's not selling down as much, kind of just pulling back from that nice little run it had in the second hour of the day. Same thing with IWM, but these could definitely easily fade. They were not as strong earlier, so it's a little bit easier for them to get negative. All right, Alpha Hunters, y'all have a great rest of your day. Take care. We'll see how the market kind of closes today. And we'll chat about tomorrow. Alrighty, take care, Alpha Hunters.